quiet enjoyment is something every property owner has a right to. And we're concerned, residents of Lakeview West, with regard to our ability to quietly enjoy our property in light of unfettered use of a short-term rental. Now, the state of Michigan defines a short-term rental as anything that's rented for less than 30 days. So the short-term rental that's 2 doors down from my house has renters anywhere from 1 day to a week, what have you. So I understand that tonight there will be maybe a discussion or initiating discussion about doing something about short-term rentals. And so I'd just like to say, in that consideration, if you all would think about these kinds of limitations of short-term rentals. For example, the number of people who can actually rent a particular residence at one time. I mean, the residence 2 doors down from us is listed for 10 people. I think the lot is 44 feet wide by about 44 feet deep. And so I would like the board to consider limiting the number of renters at any given rental, in considering the size of the lot, the square foot of the home, number of bedrooms, things like that. This would certainly deal with the circumstance where a couple of people rented the residence and invited 100 of their friends down there for the day, and basically turned the frontage into a public beach. We'd also like to have the board consider what kind of events it can be rented for. Short-term rentals are generally used for renting overnights. However, short-term rentals have been used for renting for weddings. And of course, we're talking about a lot of people there, graduations and things like that. We think that's something we'd like to have addressed. Parking as well. We have limited parking on Lakeview West. So we would like to have that addressed. Keeping the yard clean, full of free of personal property laying around outside, and also maybe considering the option of limiting the number of short-term rentals that can exist within a distance, like 1,000 feet.
There's been interest from property owners in Clark Lake to amend the ordinance to prohibit or control the use of residential property as a short-term rental. Currently, there's nothing in the zoning ordinance regulating short-term rentals. If requested, I, the zoning administrator, Brittany Stein, could begin researching potential regulations that the township could consider adding to the zoning ordinance while working with the township attorney in our previous planner land plan.
There are some instances where, it could be taken a little bit overboard when you get a whole slew of people on the lot next to you. I mean, it's all over the lake, out of the Clark Lake too. And I mean, you get nothing against short-term rentals, but if we're going to cite somebody, it's the owner of the rental or something until they get their act together. So I don't think it would hurt any to take a look and see what we could come up with just some basic rules. Look, if you're going to rent this place, respect the neighbors, and if you don't, here's what your fine's going to be.
I think it's a great idea
Okay.
to have her take a look and see what our options are. Like you said, bring it up, discuss it, talk to our attorney, and maybe Mark Idelson if possible, and move forward from there.
So then if I'm looking for it tonight, then, just kind of a nod or something, is the majority of this board willing to direct our zoning administrator to look into this and bring us back a report and an update and some options?
Yeah, I want to look into. I have one in my neighborhood, and the traffic from it is about the only problem we have right now.
In general, the concept, would you be open to talking about it in general?
Yeah.
Okay. Rick Church?
I agree.
Okay. Then I think what I've heard then tonight is a unanimous consensus of the board to compel our zoning administrator to look into it, bring us updates and reports so that we can, figure out what options might be best.